Whatever you think you know about house fires, chances are it's probably wrong, or at least it's decades out of date. And that gap between what we think happens and what really happens, well, it might just be one of the most dangerous things in your home today. So let's just start with the single most important question there is. The moment that smoke alarm starts blaring in the middle of the night, how long do you actually have to get out? I'm guessing most of us think, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Plenty of time, right? Well, the reality is a whole lot scarier. The answer is a pretty terrifying no. What you're looking at here is the whole reason we're talking about this. Just a few decades ago, you could have had as much as 30 minutes to escape a fire. 30. But today, in a modern home, that window has shrunk to less than 5 minutes, and sometimes it's as little as 3. That's a massive, massive change. So what on earth happened? So, how did we get here? Well, it all comes down to what researchers call the modern fire formula. It's not like the laws of physics have changed, right? But literally everything else about our homes has.
It really boils down to these 4 big things, all working together. 1, our homes are just bigger, a lot bigger. 2, we all fell in love with open floor plans. 3, pretty much everything we own is now made of synthetic petroleum-based stuff. And 4, the very materials we use to build our houses are completely different. Let's dig into each one.
First up, size. Just look at this. Since the 70s, the average new home has ballooned by over 50%. Now, a bigger house means more empty space, more volume, and all that volume is filled with oxygen. And for a fire, oxygen is like rocket fuel. It lets it grow bigger and faster before it ever runs out of air.
And then there's the open concept layout. I mean, who doesn't love a great room with high ceilings? Turns out, fires love them even more. See, older homes were built like a series of boxes, with lots of walls and doors that acted as natural fire breaks. By knocking down all those walls, we basically created super highways for deadly smoke and heat to race through the entire house in no time.
Okay, now this is a huge one. It's about what we fill our homes with. Your grandparents' furniture was probably made of cotton, wool, solid wood, natural stuff. Your couch today? It's almost guaranteed to be packed with polyurethane foam, which is basically a plastic made from petroleum. Now, get this. That old cotton chair took about 15 minutes to really get going. The modern foam one, it hits its peak heat in less than 4.5 minutes. Our furniture has literally become solid gasoline. And it's not just the furniture, it's the house itself. Old homes were built with thick, solid lumber. Today, we use things like engineered I-joists. They're strong, cheap, and efficient. But when you expose them to fire, they can fail way faster than solid wood. Same goes for hollow doors instead of solid ones, and vinyl windows instead of wood. Every one of these changes makes sense for construction, but they have these unintended and dangerous consequences for fire safety. So, theory is one thing, but what does this actually look like when you put it all together? Well, to show us, researchers at the Fire Safety Research Institute did something pretty incredible. They built 2 rooms, one legacy, one modern, and set them on fire.
All right, so here's the setup. On the left, you've got the legacy room. It's filled with natural fiber furniture, solid wood, that kind of thing. On the right, an almost identical room, but it's filled with all the modern stuff. A polyurethane foam sofa, engineered wood. They started both fires the exact same way, with a small flame next to a cushion.
Okay, now watch what happens in the modern room. It is unbelievably fast. At just 2 minutes in, there's already a thick layer of toxic black smoke banked down from the ceiling. And then at 3 minutes and 40 seconds, flashover. That's the terrifying point where everything in the room gets so hot it all bursts into flame at the exact same time. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. That's it. It's over. Now, let's look at the legacy room. It's a completely different story. After 10 full minutes, the fire is still mostly just on the sofa. 20 minutes go by before a hot gas layer even starts to form. And flashover? It doesn't happen until 29.5 minutes in, almost half an hour. The difference is just staggering. And if you need to see the data, this graph says it all. Just look at that blue line representing the modern room. It's not a curve, it's a cliff. The temperature just skyrockets in minutes. The legacy room, that black line, it's a slow, steady climb. This shows it's not just a faster fire, it's an exponentially hotter and more violent one. Okay, so that's the scary part. That's the new reality. So what in the world do we do about it? In a world where your escape time is measured in seconds, not minutes, what is our single most important line of defense? The big takeaway here is this number, 3. You might have 3 minutes or even less to get yourself and your family out of the house. That's not time to look for the dog or grab your wallet or hesitate. Honestly, it's barely enough time to wake up and figure out what's happening.
You see, with these incredibly fast-burning fires, the whole game has changed. Survival isn't about fighting the fire anymore. It's not even about making complicated choices. It's about one thing, and one thing only: getting the earliest possible warning so you can just get out. And that makes a simple, working smoke alarm the most important piece of technology you own. But here's the crazy part. When you look at why smoke alarms fail to go off during a fire, the number one reason isn't because they're broken. Look at this. In more than a third of cases, it's because the batteries were missing or disconnected. So, why are people disabling the one device that's designed to save their lives? Oh, we all know why, right? You're just trying to sear a steak or make some toast, a little bit of smoke comes off the pan, and suddenly the alarm is screaming its head off. It's called a nuisance alarm. And that little annoyance is actually incredibly dangerous, because as UL points out here, it's the main reason people get frustrated and just pull the batteries out, leaving their family totally unprotected. Okay, so here's the good news. The people who write the safety standards, they know this is a huge problem, so they've actually changed the rules. New smoke alarms have to pass a much smarter test. And yes, it literally involves cooking frozen hamburgers to make sure the alarm can tell the difference between you making dinner and a real deadly fire. The whole goal is to make an alarm you can actually trust, so you'll never feel that temptation to disable it. All right, let's bring it all home. The bottom line is this: the way our houses burn has fundamentally changed, and that means our mindset about fire safety has to change right along with it, because seconds, not minutes, are what matter now. So, let's just quickly recap the new reality. First, that safe escape window has slammed shut, from nearly half an hour down to less than 5 minutes. Second, that's happening because our bigger, more open homes are filled with materials that burn like crazy. And third, in this new world, a working smoke alarm isn't just a good idea, it is your single most critical tool for survival. Period. So that really leaves us with just one final question, and it's for you. Knowing what you know now, knowing how fast these fires move and that every single second counts, are you absolutely certain that your home and your family's escape plan are ready for this new reality?